Name, phone number, email, state, age, policy number, policy carrier. There's so much information that we need to keep track of for each of our leads and clients. To do that, we're going to be using a tool called custom fields or contact details. Let's dive in and we'll show you some of the areas that you can modify as well as areas that already exist for your benefit and for your organization. Inside of the contact profile, we can see on the left-hand side, contact details. This whole column is the place where information about your client or your lead is stored. There's a contact general section, but below there's additional folders that we can rearrange, reorganize, add, or delete. If we have multiple products, maybe there's multiple folders so we can keep those records clean. Let's look at one that might be a little bit more filled out here. ACA. Many of our branding bundles come with most of the fields you'll probably need for ACA. If you need to keep track of their marketplace ID, the carrier, the plan type, etc., all that information is in here. But you may have other information you need to add. You may have other features that you want to look at as well. We're going to show how to create that, but one more thing I'll take a little bit of a side quest or a detour in is that we can modify emails and text messages to dynamically pull this information into the message. Let's just look at a text, for example, to see what that looks like. I'm going to click on a text message that I know has come from an automation. If I click on that little three dot, edit, I can click on the workflow and I can backtrack and find where did this message come from. Oh, now it looks like I've been doing some cleanup. This is a demo or test account, so I've messed up my system, but let's go into a workflow itself. Let's say new leads, new lead campaign. And we're just going to pick a random text message to show you some of the extra bonus powers of custom fields. Now, a custom field, there's a key. It's called a query key. This is user first name, that's you, hi contact first name. And when you send text messages, this is a custom field. Now, when you're building text messages and emails in the future, you can add custom fields in here so that as long as you have that piece of information, the text message will be customized. For example, we might add here policy number. Say this is a client. This is not a good example because it's a new lead, but if it was a client like a check-in call or post-sale recap, we could add from the contact and we could find under custom fields, we could find all that information. Policy number. So you might say something like, here's your policy number. And now that custom field is pulling from their contact profile and plunking that information and personalizing it. You can make really interesting or cool personalized messages or just give information in an effective way. Emails and texts, you don't have to manually send it each time. You're using custom fields. So let's go into where these can be found if you're modifying or adjusting them. We're not going to make any changes here. Let's go into settings on the bottom left, and then we're going to go into custom fields. Custom fields. Now, they're going to be all fields, alphabetically organized. You can also see folders. That's the vertical drop downs. You can also see deleted fields if you want to do an audit or cleanup, if you want to recover something you might have deleted recently. Now, the folders themselves, this is important. You can rearrange them based on your workflow, based on your preference. Maybe your main product is not Medicare, maybe it's life insurance. And so you have the ability to drag the life insurance folder closer to the top. When I'm in a contact profile, I want the information that's helpful to me to be top and center. I don't want to have to go looking. That's a waste of time. So I can rearrange this view to fit my needs and my work. You can also rename or add new folders. So if there's groupings of information that's important to you, you can do that here. Let's see on the right-hand side what that looks like. Hit rename by clicking on edit, and there you go. There's the ability to rename that folder as you see fit. Whenever you're trying to organize your system, if you're going to create new fields, we'll show that in a moment, try to see if there's something that already exists in the system. We've tried to build out 90% of what you need, maybe 95. Hopefully we've got everything, but don't create too many duplicate fields. Try to keep things organized. So if we're trying to create a field like policy number, does that exist? You can see here I've actually got a couple different bundles. So I've got multiple ones, dental and vision, for example, policy number. For some reason, I have two. So this would be me finding, oh, shoot, my system's a little messy. So try to find first, does that field exist? Where are we storing that piece of data? This is like a little bucket for that information to be stored. All right, let's look at actually creating a new one, because you might discover there's something that I need that Agent CRM hasn't built out of the box. On the top right, we can click Add Field. And you're going to see a couple different types or styles of custom fields. Very basic single line, where you're just collecting text. And if you explore each of these options, multi-line, it's a bit more text. Text box list, so if you want to have multiple text list items, phone number, financial or monetary, just a number field. Drop down single, that's interesting. Okay, so maybe we just want to be able to choose one option from a list. Drop down multiple, maybe we want them to select multiple options, or internally, we want to be able to choose multiple things in one list here. So explore some of those options. Reach out to our tech team if you have questions about using some of these features. But most of them, with the explanations and demonstrations, are pretty self-explanatory. So let's say we're doing policy. Let's say we're doing carrier. Now with carrier, maybe it's Aetna, maybe it's Cigna, maybe it's one of these carriers. We could choose a text line, or we could choose, probably a better option would be a drop-down single. So we're going to select that one and choose next. Say ACA carrier name, something like that. Keep it clean. And you can see here, Cigna. Let's say option 3 as an example, and then we're going to stuff it in a folder. We're going to put it into the ACA folder. Want to make sure we organize things as we go. If you're messy along the way, it's going to be such a nightmare a year from now, 2 years from now, when you wish you had thought a little bit more intentionally up front. The struggle is real. So let's go back now. Remember the changes we've made. We moved life closer to the top. We moved a folder into ACA. And you can even see within those folders themselves, you can prioritize which fields within those folders. So this is the customizing, what's going to make easy access to the information that you need. Going into contacts, let's return there together. We're going to pick a contact, and you can see I dragged disposition to the top. Let's actually close this folder here. Life insurance, there it is. I moved that folder closer. And if I go to ACA, Cigna, Aetna, option 3, you can see how it allows me to rearrange, personalize, maybe add extra fields as necessary. Make sure to hit save. You can see on the bottom, one change made, or you can enable autosave if you don't want to have to remember those changes. There's lots of other cool things that can happen with custom fields. These fields themselves can become triggers, and you're already experiencing that from the branding bundles and how they're set up. But as you start to optimize and learn the system a little bit more for yourself, you might get some cool ideas. Start with the essentials, start with the branding bundles, but the sky is the limit. Anything you need to optimize, redesign, or reorganize your workstation to work for you, we can make that happen.